Hello again, everyone. Welcome to part 3. You see that? Fixing the Bronco. I think it's part 3. Yeah. But last you seen, I was taking the spring off the truck. It ended up fighting me a lot more after that video just to get that one bolt out. Ended up having to have my brother, and we worked on it for quite a while the next day. Got it out. The spring is actually right there. But, like I predicted, it snowed. Can't tell already. I've got a fire going in the forge. I'm gonna get that nice and hot. I'm gonna go against the recommendations of basically everyone I've asked. I'm gonna heat that spring up with fire, bend it back straight, try it out. Normally I wouldn't try this, as it poses a safety problem, you know, obviously. But I have found that in the 50s and 60s, it was very common on the drag racing cars for them to take the front springs, bend them into a 90 to lower the car. And they've been driving them, you know, there's some that are still on the road, still being driven every little bit here and there, but still being driven to this day. I mean, 70 years later. So I think I'll get away with it until I can afford a new spring. The bushing in the back side here, let me flip the camera around. The bushing in the back here, this one was new, like I was saying. This one had corroded to the bolt. I ended up cutting the bolt off and bending the bracket all up and whatnot. I'm gonna zip that bolt out, which holds the main spring together. Take the clip off. That way, this is in the way. That's why I'm gonna do it. Then yeah, we'll stick this in the fire, which is getting nice and hot. Just bend her back, I guess. I've got a new bushing on the way, I think. I don't remember if I ordered it or not. I ordered the accelerator pump for the carb. I might have ordered that too. But I'm still looking for the bolt. Shouldn't be nothing special. I just need to make sure I get the right one. Yeah, I'm gonna get all this set up and we'll get going on it. Okay, so I got the center bolt out. Couldn't get the clip apart, or whatever you want to call it. So I just slid all the springs down to one end. Left the end open. Get the fire going. I gotta leave in like 15 minutes. I'm gonna try doing this in a hurry. Really want to be gentle with the heat on there, especially being a spring. Just wanna heat it up, not cherry red or anything. Just enough to where you think you can bend it and give it a couple whacks, see what happens. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna get the air back on the heat, get her warm. Now as this is heating up, I wanna keep this cooled. I don't want the heat spreading out too far. You kinda wanna get everything planned on what you're gonna do beforehand. You can see the coal is starting to get nice and warm. A little close to the camera there, but I wish I could film this for you guys, but like I said, I gotta leave in about 15 minutes. It's snowing, I don't have a tripod. I just want to get this done. I can see the rubber is starting to smoke up here, so I'm gonna get that end out and cooled off. And there we go. See there? It's not perfect. A little bit of a wave in it yet. But, I mean, for what it is, I think she'll be fine. Aw, lost part of my bushing on that side. You have to find that. That would be why those bushings came out so easy. But, yeah, like I said, I don't have a lot of time. I'll put more on the end of this video. So, hopefully next you'll see me with new parts installing this. Alright, I'm back at the house. I don't know where I left off with the last part. It's been a couple days. It's, you know, end of the week. Got everything else going on. I did notice I forgot the very bottom spring. So I gotta take that back apart, put that on. Right now, what I'm doing is this bolt here is for the shackle. The one on the front of the truck, you can see I had to replace because that's the one I had to cut. But the nut from the old one does not fit the threads of this one. I was getting them at Ace. They didn't have any of the same thread for some reason. I don't know what thread they were, what these are, I don't know. Just bought a whole new setup. What I'm going to do is I took the nut off this plate here, and this plate actually keeps this from spinning inside the frame because you can't get a wrench or anything on this. I had to file out the hole a little bit for this one to fit. You can see there. And then I'm just going to take the welder, put a couple tack welds on it, and call her good. This did have this piece here on it. It broke off. I don't think it's necessary. I'm going to hang on to it just in case. I'm not going to weld it back on because I said I don't think it's necessary. I think this might have been just to hold the nut until you get the bolt started in it. But yeah, on this is got the spring. I'm going to take that back apart real quick. Put the spring, there's a leaf back on it. And then I'm going to head over to the farm. I don't have U-bolts yet, so I can't actually hook the axle back on. And I don't have the U-joint or the yoke yet for the drive shaft. So I'm not going to be able to drive it today, but at least I'd be able to get the spring back on the truck. That's the hard part. You guys saw I straightened that spring out. I did get a little warmer than I wanted to. Fire was hotter than I thought. And I wasn't paying as much attention as I should have been. But like I said, this is just temporary fix. Don't try this at home. Yeah. It's been a few days since the last video, so I'm trying to get this done. So maybe once a week videos. Like to have it more, but it's all, well, waiting for parts and stuff. So yeah, I'm gonna get that zapped together. And I don't think I'm gonna film the rest of it. You guys know what's going on. So see you in a little bit. Okay, got the spring on. You can see here. There's one U-bolt, or one bolt. See the other bolt, the spring's back in place. I divided a little bit, but it wasn't bad. The front one went on actually super easy, even with that bent up mount, which straightened back out. That's the one I had to build the keeper for on the nut. Now I need to get the axle back centered underneath this bolt here. I'm gonna switch the camera around. Okay. I don't think I have the settings any different for each one. It's just easier for me to see what I'm pointing at. I don't know why the axle's so stuck in place. I thought it was just the sway bar link there, but I can barely get her to move. What I'm going to do, though, after I get that back in, I'm going to pull the drive shaft and the broken yoke. That way I can bring them home. Like I said, I don't have those ordered yet. But I'm going to set the truck back on the axle, on the tire, and I should be able to drive it around the yard here at least in two-wheel drive, front-wheel drive. I won't have the drive shaft flopping around like I did when I brought it over here. Don't need the shock right now, you know, slow speeds, no big deal. And I can put the U-bolts on these after, with everything put together, because it, you know, looks like that side over there. Nothing's in the way. I've done them before with the truck still sitting on the spring, so I don't have the bolts super tight, because like I said, I am going to be pulling the suspension. I have them plenty tight enough to where they're not going to fall off anytime soon at all. I could probably drive it around no problems with them like that, but you know, things have a torque spec for a reason. So yeah, I'm going to get this axle back where it's supposed to be, tire back on, maybe shoot a short clip of that when it's done, and get this edited and online. I'm sure some of you people might be waiting. So share with your friends, like the video if you liked it, dislike it if you didn't. I don't care. It helps me out, lets me know what you like and what you didn't like. Comment down below if you have any thoughts on anything, and I'll see you next time. Alright, there she is sitting on her own weight. The spring does have a little bit of upward bend. That was by design. So I'm assuming since I heated that up and made it soft again, lost its temper, she's gonna sag. It is, the heat point was behind the spring below it, so I'm not too worried about it. She's sitting quite a bit higher on this side actually. But I just gotta get under there and zip that drive shaft off. Hopefully I can get her done. But yeah, then I'm out of here. Got everything else just about packed up. Some moss growing inside the fender there. Excited to get her back on the road. I mean, she ain't gonna be a daily driver, but should be nice. Alright. Get on here and do this, and I'll see you in the next one.